Or you might provide it via RSS feed, or you might provide it through a Twitter stream that's pushed to radio stations, so you get this analogue connection as well, and people who aren't connected with the social media world. So there's a whole bunch of ways you can push the information out, or allow people to consume it.
Thanks, Tim.
I think that's probably.
I think we might continue that in the break, just so everyone can get to their drinks and nibbles. But I think the key theme there is every organisation really needs to think about its purpose. Why are they going online? What tool is the most appropriate tool for your purpose? And I think there's also probably a comment in there about the direction of government and who owns the information, who manages information. And I know there's a couple of key people in this room who can actually speak to some of those issues because they are being addressed. Michael from Crown Law over in the corner there can speak to some of the legal matters to do with information collection and information management. Matthew down here from State Archives has been dealing with information management a fair bit. And Phillip, if you wouldn't mind coming up just briefly and and speaking to what you've been doing in terms of providing guidance to government. I will. And Philip's only going to talk for a couple of minutes about what they've been doing. Yeah, and then we're just going to sum up and we're going to talk about what the Gov2 community would like to contribute to this discussion. And I'd like you guys to come and talk to everyone in a Gov2 shirt at the end over drinks about what you think we can do to help your agency and also just help you in struggling with some of these issues over the next couple of months. So, Phillip, please tell us how you're going to help us.
Far better for me to get in the way of you guys and your drinks and nibblies. Yeah, very, very quickly, and I'm happy to take questions after the break. We've done the easy thing. We wrote policy around official use of government social media channels. That was our mandate. The ways in which we can establish long-term relationship with the community, doing exactly what these guys have done. I think where the real value lies next, and where the future of Gov2 lies now, is getting it down deeper into the professional space. So I'd love to see us at a time where we take the policy development stage, not from here is the 100-page green paper, we want your views on it, but just a notion of a policy idea and growing it collaboratively through the community, and then going out through judicial consultation methods. So that's
what kind of policy are you talking about? The social media?
So legislative policy, normal government policy, real government policy. Disaster management, it's a finite point in time. We're talking about the future of Queensland over the next few centuries. So that takes a little bit more thought, and that's where we would grow this. I think Gov2 policies that we've written so far.
So just to fill in the gaps, there are a couple of policies that have come out of Smart Services. One's for social media use and one's for online engagement. And they also provide quite detailed guidelines. And at the back of each of those documents has a few key considerations that each agency might want to think about when they're thinking about strategy. And I think they're valuable guides, not just for state government, but also for the local government people that are in the room as well. So that's on the Smart Services.
So Queensland Government Chief Information Office.
All right. Now, just quickly, you're all aware now that we've got a Gov2 community. That's why you're all here. Thank you for coming. The intention of our community is to actually convene discussions like this, which are usually a lot, as I said, informal, a lot more informal. We've had up to about 25 people at our last event, and the idea is that it's a very social environment where we have a couple of drinks and a couple of nibbles, and we talk about our experiences in this area and our learnings, and we have a surgery session where you can pose questions to the group, and we have an intensive care session where someone might bring a project and we workshop that project. There's a vote of confidence in the room that everybody who brings something to the table is speaking in strict confidence. It's non-government. It is totally about having a community of practice. So I hope you'll join in one of our events. They're every second Thursday of the month. Eileen, would you like to talk about one of the initiatives that the Gov2 community and yourself is wanting to drive to support emergency response?
Thank you, Amelia. Hi, everyone. Yes, some of you may have seen online that we've been having a bit of a discussion discussion about an Emergency 2.0 wiki. So I'm just here to talk to you about that concept. For those of you who I haven't met, I work in the ICT department at Ipswich City Council, but unfortunately I'm not a tech guru. I'm in the change management space, but I do have a background in media relations and issues management, online marketing and community engagement, and I've been in the private sector and also worked for not-for-profits. So another thing is that I'm also a Cyclone Tracy survivor. So my family lost everything and we got evacuated from Darwin to Brisbane, and we lived in a migrant centre for a couple of months. So I guess that unforgettable experience is another driver for my passion for this project. So the idea of this wiki was born over a year ago when I was project managing Council's Twitter pilot, and that included writing guidelines for using Twitter in emergencies. So I diligently scoured the web, as you do, and couldn't find any guidelines, of course. Lots of reports and case studies, but nothing. And as we've talked about tonight, how you utilise social media in an emergency is a lot different to BAU, and it also does carry greater risks. So when our Gov2 Queensland group met last month to talk about the floods and what we could do in planning this workshop, a burning question was how do we then leverage these learnings of everyone in this room and the fabulous panel. How do we best capture that and just really encourage integration of social media into mainstream emergency communications, not just by the emergency sector but also by communities. And we explored the concept of creating an Emergency 2 wiki. So just as people automatically turn to Wikipedia for information, they could turn to a wiki for emergency information. And for that sort of current best practice advice and guidelines on how to use social media in all aspects of an emergency, so how to prepare and what to do, all the things that we've talked about tonight, captured in one spot. And another thing we talked about was that importance of having vital real-time links that we can add during emergencies so that everyone knows to go to Flood Aid, everyone knows to go to Queensland.org. We can send them in that direction as well as to QPS and tell them the hashtags they need to follow and so on. So anyway, so what will this wiki look like? Well, without a presentation, but anyway, picture if you will, guidelines of course for all the phases. Now these guidelines would include templates and checklists and tools, and we'd obviously leverage off our official guidelines that Phillip was talking about that were recently launched, and we'd have links to those sites because we're not really here to reinvent the wheel, and also links to Emergency Management Queensland and Emergency Management Australia sites. Picture also, if you will, a resource section, and that's all about sharing those Emergency 2.0 resources. So, for example, there is a fantastic video on YouTube, I watched it because I was watching Rising Floodwaters, on how to sandbag your home and your business, and that's courtesy of Brisbane City Council and SES, and it's on YouTube. And imagine if everyone in Australia could access, knew to go there, so to watch that fantastic video. And also what we're thinking about with this wiki is up-to-date news of latest developments, and that's really important because technology is moving so quickly, and we really need to be across and sort of having a forum discussion on, all right, well this is a great tool, how do we use it in an emergency? So, and we're also looking to establish a really dynamic site to just encourage that collaboration. And so we'd have a Twitter feed and a blog and an RSS feed and forum and so on. So who's going to use it? Emergency and government agencies, community centres, schools, non-profits, business, the media and the public. And where? Well, we were thinking obviously that spotlights has been on us and in terms of the world practice efforts that have been displayed here in Queensland, and so we're looking at initially having it driven from Queensland, establishing the working group and the strategy and the framework and everything to get it off the ground, but then going wider and seeking that national representation, because we need to establish a steering group for governance and to ensure that the content that's getting put together really does fit with emergency management frameworks and methodologies. So that's something that's really important for credibility as well. And then we'll also be looking at establishing global alliances with groups like FEMA and the International Association of Emergency Managers and Crisis Commons, and as has been said, I mean, people from all around the world, just about every country, got involved to help with the tech solution and set up these strategies to help us get through the floods. So that was important. Why a wiki? Well, I think we all understand that it's all about accessibility, and it really is a given. But the other thing is it really will enable that comprehensive view. Like we know how to handle, what to do in terms of using social media in floods and cyclones, but bushfires are a whole other kettle of fish. There's a lot less warning often. Now, the other thing, so the wiki, it's really about crowdsourcing ideas and currency. So how a wiki? Well, obviously it needs to be done in phases, and we're looking at establishing a working party to get the concept and the design off the ground and just build a strategy and framework, and that it involve a content guideline framework and governance, technology platform, and also a community engagement and marketing strategy. And then we'd be looking to establish that wider steering group that we were talking about. But the view is to go live in time for our next flood, storm, cyclone, bushfire season. So how can you get involved? Well, as we said, we need to establish a working group. So if you've got the skills and contacts and the motivation to really help get this wiki up and running, come and see me. It'd be ideal to have a cross-sector representation from government and community and also the private sector. Also, if you want to contribute to the wiki, once we get things rolling, you can help write sections, or you can edit them, or you can comment, because there'll be discussions going on around the suggested content. And on the promotion side, we're going to need you all to help promote the wiki to your networks, and also some of you might want to moderate the forum or the blog or whatever that we get going. And if you're a tech guru, and it's not me, we need your help to help create the platform. So if you want to get involved, come and have a chat to me afterwards in the networking session, but we'll be posting information on the discussion page that we've got going on our LinkedIn group. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, as you can see, Eileen is seriously passionate about this stuff, and she has a lot to contribute to the discussion. She's probably the most researched person I know in emergency response online. And I really think this Gov2 community, while it's such a huge area, Gov2, and there's so many topics for us to discuss, and given the size of us now, I think this is just one way we can have a discussion both online and at our convenience from home, and even use some of the tools and experiment with the use of these tools and learn from that and from each other by using them. So we've got a real driver here, so if any of you are willing to contribute to that discussion, either as part of a steering committee or online, I really encourage that. And we'll also be having a broader level our Gov2 events regularly anyway, and our online discussion as well. Now, we're wrapping up. We've got drinks and nibbles. They're going to go on for an hour. I hope you stay and get to know other people in the group. I want to thank James, Judith, Marie, Kat. I'm tired now. It's been a long day. Graeme and Tim. And I'd like you all to thank them as well. I just think they've been fantastic, and thank God someone was up here sharing the limelight with me. For your participation. As I said, we're going to wrap up by summarising what was captured today, but I encourage you all to go online and continue this discussion, both about emergency response, but also how we empower and learn from these organisations, and empower ourselves to go out there and actually build that trust that we need within our agencies to actually make this happen. I think there's a real success story to tell. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming.
I'd just like to get everyone to thank Amelia for doing a great job. She does this as a volunteer basis, so she's organised this whole event. And also to our sponsors, Medudis, Robus and Objective, for basically allowing us to have this workshop here with the nibblies and the food for free. So thank you to our sponsors.